Shit.
And welcome to another edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. Steady Droppin Dimes, brought to you. Ben, can we get our friends at Underground Printing up in the upper right hand corner? Brought to you by our friends at Underground Printing. Underground Printing in Ann Arbor original since 2001. That's when it all started. It started over in West Quad. Ryan and Rishi, they said, we have a dream. We have a dream that T-shirts like this one, turnover department, Will Johnson, this was a concept that became a reality. See, originals like this.
Me having one seems like a concept that just hasn't become a reality just yet.
Don't listen to what he said. See, if you got a concept like this, a tee like this that you want to turn to reality, our friends at Underground Printing can make it a reality. See, we're going to do something like this for the Droppin Dimes group because you said that you would support it. You said that, yeah, if you guys come up with some Droppin Dimes merch, we will support it. See, it's something that we got to do in the postseason. So once we get through football season, we're going to come up with Droppin Dimes merch, just like Will Johnson came up with the Turnover Buffs merch. And a lot of you feel like, oh, Will 2J, the Buffs. You said, oh, Will is giving up on the season. He's giving up on the team. Will ain't giving up. He ain't giving up on the team. He hasn't checked out. Will ain't checked out. Will is working hard to come back. I think Will Johnson is going to come back. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about this week. If he doesn't come back this week, if he's not back this week, because I think he's working hard. If he doesn't make it back this week, I think after the bye week, that gives you an extra week of rest. I think that might be a good target. So we'll see. We'll see if we see him on the field this week. I think that's a target against a top team like Indiana. Feels weird to say that. We'll see if we see the Buffs out there. And if we don't see the Buffs out there, that bye week gives you another week of rest. Then look for them in that Northwestern game. That gets you on gear, on track for O State. If there's a will, there's a way. There you go. That's what we're talking about. But the point is, Underground Printing. You want your Buffs? You want your turnover Buffs? You can go to Underground Printing. You want your maize and blue gear? You see this maize and blue ensemble? Underground Printing. 3 locations right here in Ann Arbor, Southview, downtown. South Main. They got the 3 locations right here in Ann Arbor. Take care of you. Right? Underground shirts. Right here in Ann Arbor to take care of.
Yeah, Daniel, I'm going to roll up there and get ours. So, because obviously.
South Main, downtown, Southview. The 3 locations in Ann Arbor at undergroundshirts.com. And I have your gear. I have your turnover Buffs gear.
Daniel, I'm going to go get our gear. Don't worry about it.
At this point, it's going to take SWAT to get it from him.
Come on, man. It's still packaged
up.
Lying.
You ain't lying, Daniel.
It's still packaged up, and you folks can get your turnover.
That's ours right there. He wearing ours right now, Daniel. I bet. That's your hat and my shirt.
From Underground Printing. So, folks, we got a special show in store for you today. All the topics aren't even in the promo. We got to remake the promo, right? So tell your friends. We're going to be talking about Bryce a little bit. Tell your friends we're going to be talking about portal quarterback targets. Portal quarterback targets. Hot off the presses. That's right. We getting thick today. First things first on Bryce. Bryce Underwood. I told y'all. See, they talked all dirty about me. They talk dirty about me, DG. They talk dirty about me, DG. I don't know why they talk dirty about me. And I didn't even talk back. I wanted to, but I didn't say nothing. I just let them look stupid. Now they want to act like they know something. It's like, hey, that's crazy. If they talked all slick, now they want to act like they knew the whole time. It's crazy. But here's the brass tacks. So Bryce still committed to LSU. You had all these recruits descend upon Michigan, upon the Big House last week for the Notre Dame game. For the Oregon game, including his primetime receiver that's committed to LSU with them, Derek Meadows. He was not in attendance at the game, but his parents were there. His parents are in attendance. Here's what has been made clear. And this recruitment has been going on for some time. This courtship, Michigan has been pecking away. LSU is they came up. They've been fending Michigan off, and they basically been saying, "Hey, look, nothing to see here. We got him. He's not gonna flip." Michigan, for the first time in my lifetime watching Michigan recruit against the South, has sort of laid it down. And they've recruited against LSU forever. They've tried to guys like Jai Eugene, who LSU flipped at the last minute, right? What's my man Swagoo's name? That's on ESPN.
Marcus Spears.
Marcus Spears. Michigan recruited the hell out of Marcus Spears, man. They recruited the hell out of Marcus Spears. Couldn't get him. I mean, LSU has been mopping the floor with Michigan. They couldn't get those guys. LSU always had a little something, Devin and Daniel, that Michigan did. But now, for the first time in my life.
What might that be, Sam?
I'll let you use your imagination, fellas. Well, for the first time in my lifetime, LSU cannot, let me repeat, LSU is not, at least on this front, with Bryce Underwood, cannot beat Michigan. Let me repeat. When it comes to NIL, LSU cannot beat Michigan. When it comes to NIL, for Bryce Underwood, LSU cannot and will not beat Michigan. How you like that? How you like that, Daniel?
Sounds good to me.
They are making it clear. I mean, it's like line in the sand time for Michigan. It's like we got number one player in the country up the road. It's a 5-star quarterback, and we just won a national championship, and now we losing games. Oh no. We putting it down. We not losing this one for over some money. So now it's not even about the money. Not even about the money. The decision is not about money anymore, because Michigan has made it clear on the NIL front. Let's take that off the table. Let's take money off the table, because we're going to make it not be about the money. NIL is taken care of. LSU ain't beating us on that. So make it be about something else, LSU. What you want to do? That's what Michigan's saying. What you want to do? Whatever you come with, we got that. You coming with this? Oh, we got that. And then some. Oh, you got that? Oh, we got that too. We got that too. Ain't beating us on that. You ain't beating us on NIL. Better come with something else. I mean, that's a good play. It's crazy. I ain't never experienced nothing like I don't know how to act. I don't know how to act. I mean, it's like winning the national championship. I don't know how to act, Dan. I don't know how to act, DJ. I don't know how to act feeling like this, man. I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
It's new territory.
This must be how Jay-Z feel, man. was like, oh, wow. This crazy.
You know, Sam, you just had to bide your time and just wait. That's it. Don't say
Mhm.
nothing. Right? Continue to show great poise and everything will come on out. You know, it's good to go. It's good to go.
All right. So now that on the NIL, I remember I said last year, if the NIL canon doesn't fire with Bryce Underwood, it doesn't exist. I said this a year ago. Okay. Way to step up. So then the fan side of it comes in. Okay, so what are the fans going to do? Well, I guess the fan, I didn't say this part. I might have thought it. Well, here come the fans in a huge way. So the fans got together, and it's this fan group. There's this huge fan tailgate that gets together. Thousands of fans come together for this huge tailgate every week called Hellgate. And they said, we're going to get together and do something special. So they got together with the folks at Belleville, and they said, we're going to descend in mass to every game that Belleville plays for the remainder of the season. And we're going to keep Bryce. We're going to tell Bryce we want him to stay home. We're going to keep Bryce home. And so the Keep Bryce Home campaign was born. And so the Hellgate group have put together this effort. And now it has mushroomed into this event that will take place, or at least the first one will take place starting this Friday at the Belleville game. It is the Keep Bryce Home event. Actually, it's the game. It's the Belleville game. It's the Belleville playoff game. But they have co-opted it, and they have called it the Keep Bryce Home event. So if you are interested, if you want to partake, if you want to participate, if you want to contribute to the cause, if you want to do your part, if you want to keep Bryce home, then guess what? All you got to do is show up. All you got to do is sit in the stands. All you got to do is be present. All you got to do is show you care. All you got to do is wear your maize and blue. See, because they don't know that Michigan gets down like this. See, this is visual representation for a cause. So the website, Ben, if you could put it in the chat and put it up on the screen, so the folks that are interested in participating, for the folks that are interested in making it on out. See, my only contribution is to spread the word. They said, hey, can you put this, can you tell the people that we're doing this? I said, sure. I tell the people you're doing it. No problem. I'll let the folks know. Therefore, can you share our release? Sure, I'll share your release. They got it on Facebook. Got the website. As Ben is putting it up right now, there you go. That is the website. If you want to get on out to the game and support this cause, get on out. You're going to see a great game too, by the way. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock as Belleville faces Saline in the district championship playoff game. And so get on out and check it out. And let it be known that you want Bryce to stay home. Keep Bryce home. Can you say keep Bryce home? Can you put keep Bryce home in the chat? Put keep Bryce home in the chat. I'm going to put it on the screen. Just say keep Bryce home. Put keep Bryce home. You put keep Bryce home in the chat. I'm going to put it on the screen. Keep Bryce home. Say it with me, folks. Say it in the chat. We're going to put it on the screen. Very easy to do. There you go, Ripstar. That's what I'm talking about. There you go, Adam Shepardson. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Beats and treats. That's what I'm talking about. Keep Bryce home. That's what I'm talking about. People are coming out. Keep Bryce home. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. folks are participating. And that's what showing up would do as well. So get on out, support the cause, show up in the stand, show up in mass, spread the word, let the folks know what's going down. I've never seen this before. This is foreign territory. I've never seen it before, fellas. This is a recruiting first, and I've been covering recruiting since y'all were recruits. I've never seen it before. Never seen it before. Unbelievable. That's right. Adam Jefferson said so important. I say it right.
Hey, somebody said if the Bryce is right. Facts.
All right. So here's the deal. DG said something a few weeks ago that was on point. He said, okay, number one quarterback in the country, just like Dylan Raiola was number one quarterback in the country. That's fine and dandy. He said, but Sam Webb, when was the last time you saw a number one quarterback in the country lead a team to an undefeated season? When last time you saw that happen? He said, so what does that mean for Sharon Moore? He said, what that might mean for Sharon Moore is that Bryce Underwood is going to be potentially a championship quarterback for another coach. For another coach. Not for him, for another coach. So if you're Sharon Moore, you want Bryce Underwood and a portal quarterback. And a portal quarterback. So you're pursuing two quarterbacks in this cycle. You're pursuing Bryce Underwood, and you're going to get a portal guy. Which brings us to the other hot topic, fellas. The other hot topic. And I think you're right, DG. I think they are going to be looking at a portal quarterback. And if they're smart, that search is already started. And so I've been talking to agents. You know, I talk to agents and I say, hey, fellas, what are you hearing? Who are some guys that might be hitting the portal? And who are some guys that you're hearing might have interest in Michigan, or you hearing Michigan might be interested in, might be good fits? And there are three names that I got from agents that I want you to react to. All right. So these are not guys. I don't want you to go saying that these guys are going to hit the portal, or these are guys that are no, these are just guys that agents these are speculative names from agents. Can we qualify them as such?
Sure.
All right. Speculative names from agents. So let's just put it out there like that. But the first name that came up just got benched, DG. This dude, you loved him when we talked about him earlier in the season. And when he faced Michigan, when he wasn't getting busted in the mouth, he was balling out. But Miller Moss and oh boy, Lincoln Riley just benched him.
Wait, he benched him?
You didn't see? Yeah, he just benched him.
Man, these coaches and blaming people who ain't to blame is crazy.
He just benched Miller Moss, man. And so the
For
talk
who?
for the dude to transfer from UNLV.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, because they just lost to Washington last week. He benched them. They losing all these close games, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So talk is, I mean, I was hearing that Miller Moss
Before the benching.
was before the benching was probably going to hit the portal. That's just the talk on the street, right? He was a target of Michigan's before he went to USC. Seems to make sense. Going to have one more year. This would be a good fit with Bryce, right? 1 year bridge quarterback, veteran guy, a guy that got some real Power 5 experience, high IQ guy, really could come in and could be a dude. If you go and get an offensive line, go get some weapons, feels like some dudes would want to play with him. What would you think of a Miller Moss, DG?
Well, obviously you've told me the other names before the show, so
we'll go through them in order. But let's just talk
yeah. But my comment on Miller Moss is I don't have the same comment because of the other names, right? But Miller Moss would be a good fit just because of, like you said, he got good moxie. He's a guy that has been in the fire. He knows how to play. He's a grown-up. And his football acumen is really good. But the really cool thing I like is his confidence, right? His confidence and the ability to perform on a big stage. Him being benched is kind of wild just because he's not the reason USC is losing football games, right? He's not the reason right now. Could he be better? Maybe. I'm sure he could. Of course, everybody can always be better, but for a coach to kind of choose the quarterback that is not playing poorly as kind of the scapegoat, I don't love it. But it could work in Michigan's favor. So I think that's great. It's a great job by Lincoln Riley. He should have benched him, right? Because it's going to work out for Michigan. And yeah, it's a great job. He's a great coach. I mean, of course you got to bench this guy. I mean, what are we doing? But he's got great talent. And so, like you said, he was a top recruit coming out for a reason. And he's put enough on tape for me to believe that he can significantly help Michigan. And not only that, I think other guys in the country will want to come play. Of like, okay, you already get the legacy of Michigan, just came off a national championship 2 years prior, but also all the things that work in your favor when you become a Michigan man. Everybody knows that, right? Now, is it enough to not have success and get that? No. But if you can also have success with a grown-up quarterback and benefit from the alumni base and all those different things, I think that's a win-win. And so I think he brings talented players who know he can play.
I think if you get the man an offensive line, like you got to get him an offensive line because he's been taking a beating.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking a beating, DG.
He's either the most hit quarterback or third most. Him and the quarterback, yeah, he might be the most hit quarterback in all of college football. It's fact check on that, but he's up there, right? He's up there with the most times being hit by for a quarterback, and he's still not playing bad. That's the impressive thing to me, because if you just keep getting hit, it is tough to play quarterback well. It's tough, very tough.
Yeah, so I think it's incumbent because he's not a guy who runs around the yard. And I guess Jordan Maeva is the guy to transfer from UNLV, sophomore guy. And I guess he can run around a little bit. So that's something that I think.
You know what I don't like? Lincoln Riley was essentially complaining a little bit about in that second year at USC with Caleb Williams, that it was so hard for him to call plays because you just never know what's going to happen. It's hard to set things up. You know, the running around, it's cool, but it makes it tough on the coordinator. And then you get a guy that's going to do exactly what you tell him, and you don't like that either. So do you just need the best player in the world every single time, or are you truly developing quarterbacks, right? So now it makes you look back. Did you really develop Kyler Murray, or was Kyler Murray one of the greatest talents as far as athletic ability we've ever seen, right? Where he can go right now.
Can I answer that?
He can go right now and play baseball. And then for Baker Mayfield, did you develop him, or was he a guy that just got a special kind of chip on his shoulder where he's going to be successful no matter what, walked on at your program and different things like that? Caleb Williams, did you develop him, or is he just one of the greatest generational talents that we've seen? And that question has to be asked, right? Because you got a guy in Miller Moss who's not the most talented, right? Not the most gifted, doesn't run around. And it's your perfect opportunity to show, hey, I develop quarterbacks, not just the greatest talent. I develop quarterbacks, and, it's not working out.
Hey, real quick, to answer your question, DG, yes, Kyler Murray is one of the most talented.
Oh, yeah, I know. It was rhetorical. I know that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because I watched him play in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my point. Oh, yeah, and another one, Jalen Hurts. Did you develop Jalen Hurts, or did Jalen Hurts not only lose 2 games in his career before he even got to you, right? So those are the questions I think has to be asked when you see a guy like Miller Moss, who we know has some talent, not the most talented, right? Who has some ability, who's smart, and all these different things, and you can't figure it out, and it gets so bad. I'm doing air quotes because I don't think it's that bad. It's so bad that he has to be benched. I think there's other issues at USC than the quarterback.
Yeah, man, I think so too. I think it's one of those things that when things start going poorly and you're losing all these close games, you start pointing fingers and you start blaming everybody else. And man, it's to the point now where, dude, ain't nobody else to blame. Ain't nobody else to blame. And you're the quarterback guru now. Now you're blaming It's the last
And
thing.
you want to know so important about that? And I know this for a fact. He doesn't let anybody talk to the quarterback. The quarterback is his baby. He deals with it. Like when I tell you that, and obviously I've talked to people, and this is how I know this. He doesn't allow other people to talk to the quarterback, right? So whatever the quarterback produces, it comes directly from Lincoln Riley's development, right? And so essentially by benching him, you said you failed in developing him, and you gotta go with somebody else.
Yep. I agree 100%. I like if you give him an offensive line. I mean, the quick decision making, the accuracy as a passer. I mean, he gives you and the experience that he has now.
He gives you a chance. He gives you a chance.
Absolutely. And then the mentorship that he can give you for a Bryce Underwood as well. I mean, I love that mix that he would bring you as a bridge quarterback. It checks a lot of boxes, and it feels like as you try to recruit a portal class, because you got to be just like you're trying to finish this recruiting class. I said this on the Recruiting Insider last week. Every guy you get the rest of the way is a dude. Like you're recruiting starters. You're recruiting guys. Like every guy you get the rest of the way is a dude. Like not a guy who's a fourth or fifth year guy who starts. No, a guy who starts in his first or second year. You're recruiting Devin Gardner or Daniel Horton guy. Those are the kind of guys you recruiting the rest of the way, to me. Not the guy who develops over the course of his career. He's a starter in his senior year or redshirt senior, Nah, not them dudes. Not the developmental guy. You're recruiting dudes the rest of the way. That's who you get. And same thing, if you're losing Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant and Will Johnson, man, you got to go get them dudes in the portal. And so if that's what you're trying to get in the portal, for instance, at like receiver, you better go get a quarterback that those kind of dudes want to put. Like, look what they went and got. What's my man? Ethan Stewart. That's who Oregon got in the portal.
Isaiah Stewart, I think his name is.
Evan Stewart.
Evan Stewart. Yeah. Man, come on, man. That dude, you better go get a quarterback and a dude like that want to play with.
Yeah, he was a 5-star kid too.
Come on, man. You got to get a quarterback that a dude like that want to play with. So you got to get a Miller Moss. Get a Miller Moss, a dude like that. Okay, I'll go play with him, for instance. Right? Or especially when paired with, you got a 5-star quarterback coming into that quarterback dynamic would pull in guys, right? Offensive lineman. You want to pull in big time offensive lineman? Okay. I like that quarterback dynamic. Y'all do okay. That sells, that pulls guys in when you do that. So I like that part of the mix too. That makes sense to me. You like Miller Moss, Daniel?
Yeah, not for sure. Watching him play, I like the way he stood in the pocket and took some shots against us and still made plays and that was a nip and tuck game until the last drive of the game, right? So that was impressive on his part. So
yeah, he didn't lose that game.
Yeah, for sure.
He left the game up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely.
No, we're not pulling the plug on Jaden Davis, but man, you gotta have the listen.
You gotta compete.
You gotta have the most dog. Listen, you better have the most competitive dynamic possible. You better go get you a portal quarterback.
Yep.
You got to go get you some experience to compete with the inexperienced talent on this roster, of which Jaden Davis is one of them. He got be a part of the mix.
But he has, like you said, you want to create a situation where everybody in that room is competing.
Absolutely.
Iron sharpens iron. So when the winner comes out, whichever winner comes out of that competition, you got a guy that's ready to go.
100%. That's right. Jay Marion, you got to load the room. Come on, man. Nah, bro. You got to compete. All right. So let's move on to a name that I know my man Daniel Horton is going to be excited that we mentioned. This one, when I mentioned it in the in the pre-show warm-up, his eyes lit up because I knew when I mentioned the Texas guy, he was gonna be like, "Oh man, that's kind of exciting." That kind of his eyes kind of lit up. Kaidon Salter, Kaidon Salter from Liberty. So Kaidon Salter is a junior quarterback from Cedar Hill, Texas.
Yes, sir.
So I'll let you start off talking about Kaidon Salter. Daniel, tell the folks about Kaidon Salter.
Yeah, Caden's been big time since he was young, right? He from Pop Warner football, he's been like the kid that, oh, Caden's gonna be nice. And so when he came through high school, he started at DeSoto, ended at Cedar Hill, led Cedar Hill to a state championship game. Went to Tennessee, committed to Tennessee, was at Tennessee out of high school and had some off the field trouble that led him landing at Liberty. But since he's been on the field at Liberty, he's been balling, right? And that's kind of what we've seen from him since we've been watching him play since high school, right? He's a winner. He's a guy that makes plays consistently. He can fool you into thinking he's a dual threat guy, but he's really not. He's just a playmaker, right? So I think that he could fit in this system. He could do well in this system. It's just a matter if he's, cleaned up the off the field issues he had that led him leaving Tennessee. But for him being the starter at Liberty, you would assume that those issues have been cleaned up to a point that he's able to get out there and play and do well. So if they're able to get him, he's a guy that's played high-level football for a long time now. He's not a guy that's been sitting like the quarterbacks we have on the roster now. So any of these guys, whether it's Miller Moss or Kaidon Salter, I would be happy with either one of those guys.
DG, Kaidon Salter.
So I like Kaidon Salter's game, and like Daniel said, he's not. I mean, he's got some movement ability, but like I would say, it's similar to Miller Moss, right? He's not a guy that's going to break the bank as a runner, right? Which is, you love to have that in today's game just because it evens out the box. Everything is even. The defense can't be right when you got a guy that can really hurt you with his legs. The thing for me about Kaidon Salter is I don't know how many people will be clamoring to come play with Kaidon Salter, right? And if we get him and then he comes on this roster, I think this team's just a little bit better, and I don't think that's what everybody's looking for. All right, yeah. I don't think that's what everybody's looking for. I think you win the same games you've won, except you may win them a little more convincingly, right? But the games that you suspected you might lose, Oregon, Ohio State, got in the beginning of the year, you say, hey, those are the games that you got to put a pin in and say, hey, you probably that's going to be tough sledding. I think those same games are the same with Kaidon Salter without a plethora of weapons, right? And that's just not what Michigan has right now. Remember, Colson Loveland, I'm sure he will be gone. If I was him, I would be gone, right? So that's the best weapon, and then the cupboard is bare, right? And I just don't see the desire, the want to be like, hey, I'm going to Michigan. And we might not throw the ball every play, but I'm going to Michigan because I want to play with Kaidon Salter. I don't see that.
Yeah, so I like that he would bring you. So he's not a dual threat guy, to your point, but I like that he would bring you more mobility than.
Oh yeah, 100%, way more. Yeah,
Moss. Like he would bring you more improbability. On the other hand, level of competition.
That's a big thing.
Right.
Right. He has success, but Liberty is playing the deaf and the blind.
Right.
And they got a good roster.
Right. Yeah. So he doesn't, will what he's done at Liberty translate to the level of competition? Like we've seen Miller Moss do it against big time competition.
Yep.
Right. So all of this that we've seen Kaidon Salter do, I don't know if he'll be able to do it at this level.
And we don't have time to find out, honestly. Like that's the whole thing. We don't have time to wait and see how he can develop. Not to mention, we've kind of talked about the fact that the development at Michigan at the quarterback position just hasn't been good enough, right? So for him, and that's a picture of him playing against Oregon, he looked completely overwhelmed in that game. So that's great competition. Now, obviously, Oregon has maybe a little better players around him on their team than what he was able to go out there with, but that's what I'm saying, right? You get into a situation at Michigan where the roster isn't great right now, right? It's not a great roster, and are you a guy that can pull that a not so great roster along because of your talent? I don't think he's that talented. I don't think he has that kind of juice.
Yeah, see, I don't know if he can do it at the college level. Like we talked about this in basketball, right, Sam? With the guys that they brought in with the basketball team, can you be productive in the Big Ten at a higher level, right? The only reason why I think Kaidon would be fine is because I've seen him do every level he's played on. He's played against the best competition, and he's been one of the guys, right? So I don't know if that necessarily changes because like he'll be playing with better teammates if he came to Michigan as well. So I just think for a kid I've watched play since he was about 15, 16, he's all and he played at a school that wasn't the most talented team, right? And he led them to a state tournament, a state championship. So the kid, and I know it's high school, but sometimes guys have certain things in them that you can't look at the numbers and see like, oh, he's a 60%. Like, no, this kid, he's been pretty productive everywhere he's been. And he was a Tennessee guy coming out of high school. So Josh Heupel thought highly of him. So
yeah, he's another guy. He's 4-year college guy. So he'd be another guy who can mentor Bryce. So that would be another bridge guy. But again, I don't know if it would translate. It could.
Right. Just don't know. You're taking a chance. Yeah.
Just don't know. Just don't know. Don't know. All right, but here's the last one, and this one is intriguing. This one is intriguing, fellas. The agent threw this one on me, and I was like, ooh. But I knew Devin had done one of his games. And I decided, let me throw this one at DG. How you think about this name, DG? John Mateer from Washington State. John Mateer has been putting up some numbers at Washington State, too. What do you think of John Mateer? Now, I hadn't heard. I'm not saying that he's going to hit the portal, but the agent was like, hey, don't be surprised if something shake there. And if something shake, don't be surprised if Michigan's hat is in the ring for John Mateer.
Well, so first when you said it, it was super surprising just because his story suggests that he would be a guy that wanted to stick around and build what he's building at Washington State, man. But I'm telling you, he got juice. He got arm, he got legs. And when he runs the football, it's like a running back's running it. As far as vision, ability, speed, power, all those different things. He got juice, he got moves. And I'm just like, I was very impressed. And then as a passer, right, he's still young and developing. And his jump from last year to this year is amazing, right? To see what he's been able to do and how he's worked so hard to become a great passer or a good passer. He's still got ways to go, right? He's only a sophomore. But if this was like a guy that gets in the portal, I think they should throw everything at him and get him, right? I think that he is going to be a special talent moving forward next year and the year after that. And this is a guy that everybody in a couple years, remember I said this, you're going to be like, man, what place is he going to be? Is he going to be number 1? Is he going to be top 3? Is he going to be number 5? I'm talking about that first round of the NFL draft, right? He's got that type of talent and juice. And then his personality as well lends to, galvanizing the troops, making sure that everybody's ready. And when you look at him and you're in the huddle or you're in the locker room, you believe, right? You think, man, we probably have a chance. No matter who's on the other side, we got a chance with old John Mateer. And the thing about, right, because I don't think his name commands enough just yet, right, that a bunch of guys will come. However, I think he's the guy that can elevate and make others around him better because of his natural abilities.
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing about John Mateer. He's a redshirt sophomore. So if he hits the portal, he will be super in demand. The reason why he would do it, because Washington State, like, they're Pac-10 or Pac-12 or whatever. Yeah. Like, what conference? Like, who? Like, his profile now is bigger than Washington State. Like, he could go someplace and break the bank and be in like a real conference now. Yeah. But why would he go? Why would he go to a Michigan with the number 1 quarterback in the country coming, and he's a redshirt sophomore, right?
I'm telling you right now.
Why would he do that?
DG said they only got 1 year left.
The reason he would do that is because he is supremely, let me reiterate, supremely confident in himself and his game, right? That the opportunity to play at him. If he's thinking about getting in transfer portal, that means he wants to leave Washington and what he started to build. Playing at a Michigan in a conference where you know for sure the juice is there. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get what you're supposed to get, right? Washington, you can do as much as you want. You're probably not going to get what you maybe deserve based off of what you've been able to do. At Michigan, there is no chance of you doing what you do and not reaping the benefits that you should reap. So that I think will be very attractive. And when I'm talking about supremely confident, I'm talking about running through linebackers, which you have to learn to stop doing that, right? However, like he believes in himself in a way that it like leaks all over teammates, right? Where everybody else starts to believe in themselves a little more. And Daniel, I'm sure, and Sam, you've been around people like that it's like, man, because you believe so much, I believe a little bit, right? And that's just kind of the kind of attitude he has.
It was like that when I was in high school. It was like it would bleed over, like. When you walked in,
wait, we are good, huh?
Yeah, you felt like that. You felt like,
yeah.
We got that dude. We okay.
Yeah, I am that guy.
Hey man, so here there is a hurdle. Daniel mentioned it, and DG kind of swept it aside. He's a redshirt sophomore. That means he has 3 years. Some of his credits. So only 60 credits transfer, DG. This is a Michigan thing, right? So, some of the credits don't transfer. That means that you got to give up something in transfer if you're John Mateer from a credit standpoint. That is something else to consider if you're him. So you got the Bryce consideration. Why would I want to go play with the number 1 quarterback in the country? Why would I want to give up some credits in transfer? You think? What about that piece of it, DG? I mean, what about that consideration?
If he wants to go to Michigan and Michigan wants him, he's going to Michigan. I'm not getting involved with no credit garbage. Michigan knows where their bread is buttered. They know what the cash machine is. They know what the moneymaker is. Not to mention he's a good student at Washington State. I don't know what class he's taking or whatever. He's a good student. And there is no way, let me reiterate, there is no way it will be a Michigan basketball situation where you block guys that can help the program, especially at that position. Remember, the quarterback for Michigan is like the president of the university. This is different. This ain't no receiver. This ain't no point guard. This ain't no shooting guard. This ain't no guard. This not a cornerback. This is a quarterback for a team that desperately wants and needs to be good and honestly great. They've gotten that taste of what it feels like. If he wants to go to Michigan, without me even knowing the credit stuff, if he wants to go to Michigan and Michigan wants him, he'll be wearing maize and blue.
Hey, you know why Sam laughing? Because he know you setting yourself up for failure thinking that way. You know you setting yourself up for failure thinking that way. Because it's been, like I said, I know you think the quarterback is the president and all that old goofy stuff, but they've had the player that won Player of the Year in the Big Ten.
You talking about what sport?
They had him locked up.
What sport?
Basketball.
Oh, okay.
They had him locked up. They had another kid that averaged 20 points per game at another school.
And what sport?
Did Caleb Love win Player of the Year in the Pac-12 last year?
What sport was it?
It doesn't matter. It's the school. It's not the sport. It's the school.
What sport was it though? Just to be clear, what sport?
All right, we'll see. You go get your feelings hurt.
Right. Adam Shepardson might be right. He might only have 60 credits, so it might.
What sport were these guys that got denied?
They were basketball.
Okay, just making sure.
Hey, listen, and Adam is right. He might only have 60 credits, but here's what I know. When Shea Patterson transferred, Shea lost like 30 credits when he transferred.
Did he end up at Michigan because they wanted him?
He did end up at Michigan, but he lost.
He wasn't Kaidon
Salter. That's because he wanted to be at Michigan. He made the decision. So every guy ain't gonna make that decision. I'm losing 30 credits.
Hey, Sam.
I don't know.
What school did he end up playing for?
He played for Michigan.
Okay.
DG said
he lost him 30 credits too, though.
The long and the short of it is they're going for Bryce. Like LSU ain't beating Michigan for Bryce on NIL. It'll have to be something else. It'll have to be something else. He's still committed. They're going to get their shot to keep him. He's given, listen, he stayed committed. Sloan and them came up. They giving him the spiel to keep him to get him to stay, and he's staying committed. He loves Joe Sloan. They got the highs. They got Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels killing it. He loves Sloan. He loves the offense. That's his dream school. He's still committed. So they dealing with house money, but he listening. He listening. They're listening. Mom and dad was at the game. They've been listening. Been listening. It's not just now listening. Been listening.
They've been Krasner listening.
so, it's one of those things. And now Michigan making it real clear to the point where, like, the GM shows up at the game. So they take a coach off the road just to send the GM to the game. GM don't go nowhere. The GM goes to the game just to walk out, just to say, see, I'm walking up in the game just to let y'all know we ain't playing. Y'all ain't beating us on no NIL. Not on no NIL. I ain't never known Michigan act like that. Ever. So let's take the money consideration out of there. Ain't going to be about no money. Will it be about something else? We'll see. We'll see. So, hey, Ben, DG, I know you got to bounce. I don't know if you have something to say about Indiana. You got anything to say about Indiana before you bounce?
Good team, much better than expected. And the coolest thing about Indiana, forget about the game that Michigan has to play against them. I don't think Michigan will beat them. I think they'll be in the fight early, but Indiana has proven that they, are a top team in the country. Not to say Michigan can't, right? I just wouldn't put my money on it. However, Indiana is a perfect example of what could be. J. Cole said it. Just keep on grinding. In 1 year, your life can be totally different. Nobody saw this coming, but Indiana, through the transfer portal, was able to create what I think Michigan is going to find is kind of a monster coming up here in a few days. So I just think however the game turns out, that's whatever. But look at Indiana across. Look at that sideline and say, if they can do that at Indiana, boy, oh boy, what can we do at Michigan, right? And I just think that's what is the coolest thing about this weekend.
All right, DG, I know you got to bounce. While DG bounces, let's talk a little bit about underground printing, and we'll talk a little bit more about Indiana on the other side. As we get the 2 box. Listen, at underground printing, you see turnover bus, turnover department. You see turnover department. This is over here. Sorry about that. See, this is that custom gear. This is custom gear. So we talk so much about the maize and blue gear, the Michigan gear, the Michigan branded gear, which you can get at underground printing. All of your Michigan brand apparel, you can get at underground printing. 3 locations in Ann Arbor, of course, for you to make it to. Undergroundshirts.com. You hear us talk about it all the time. So whether you're in Ann Arbor, the location of South Main, downtown, Southview, make it on out. Get your maize and blue Michigan branded apparel or undergroundshirts.com. Whether it's your winter or fall apparel or summer apparel, your season tee, you name it, you can get it there. But don't sleep on the custom options. Don't sleep on the NIL option. So you're looking for your NIL apparel, your turnover buffs. So Will Johnson's apparel, the Buffs apparel. A lot of y'all, it's crazy how it happens. A lot of y'all, things go south. You get a little upset. Suddenly you think, for instance, oh, well, where's Will? Will is out of there. He's giving up on the season. Will has not given up on the team. He has not given up on the season. Will is rehabbing. Will is trying to get back. We'll see if he's grinding. We'll see if he gets back this week. If Will doesn't get back this week, we'll see. We'll see. I'm checking. We'll see. If he can't get back this week, this is the great thing about 2 bye weeks. He'll get the extra bye week. And then that gives him extra prep time for Northwestern. And so, then you get the Northwestern game. Let's say you come back for the Northwestern game, and then that gets you ready for Ohio State. So that's what I would look to. So first, let's see if he can come back for Indiana. Let's see if he can come back for Indiana. If he can't, then I would target that Northwestern game because you get that extra bye week. But the point is, man, the turnover buff guy hadn't abandoned you, hadn't abandoned his squad. And you can still rock his gear and you can get your turnover buff representation, get your buff gear, your buff life on, your underground print, undergroundshirts.com. Or you can get your own branded apparel done at Underground Shirts, at Underground Printing. See, that's what we're on now. That's what we're planning to do. You inspired us. Our Droppin Dimes family inspired us to do some Droppin Dimes merch. So we have our design team on the job. They're coming up with some mock-ups. And then we're going to, once we come up with some great designs, we're going to send it over to the Underground Printing crew. And then we're going to have our we're going to have our Droppin Dimes merch over at Underground Printing. You can do the same. Whatever your t-shirt needs, sweatshirt needs, long tee needs, if you have custom needs, Underground Printing can get it done wherever you may be. Wherever you are, Underground Printing can meet those needs. That's the great thing about Underground Printing. So again, folks, when we say support, who supports you in many different ways, it's not just about Michigan football. Can support you in many different ways. Your custom needs as well can be met. Just like they're going to meet our custom needs for Steady Droppin Dimes. It could be your custom needs for your local teams, your kids' teams. It could be your office needs. Your local bowling league. Who knows what kind of custom needs you might have. Underground Printing can take care of them, undergroundshirts.com. All right? Man, Ripstar, you're on the job. I appreciate you. Look at that.
Ripstar going crazy.
Yeah, appreciate you. All right. So, Indiana, listen, people were kind of misinterpreting what I had to say about Indiana. We have gotten into I thought we had some really good preview material on the breakdown with Vance Bedford and the breakdown with Al Borges. If you missed those, be sure to check them out. Former college QBs be delusional. I don't think Devin was delusional. At least about when he talked about how, on the Indiana side of things, you can, as much respect as he gave him, Michigan, he said he didn't think Michigan was going to beat him. Michigan can't compete with that. This is not a team that Michigan is going to walk in the door and the athletes on the other side are just automatically better. What they have is a team full of veterans, of experienced vets he said they got chips on their shoulders. They absolutely do. They have great scheme. They are well coached and they do not make mistakes. They will embarrass Michigan. And Michigan walks in the door and they're making all those mistakes that they made all season long. They have got to tighten up. And they have got to take some of the lessons that they should have learned, not just over the course of the season, but certainly over the course of the last game, Daniel. And I'll give you a few and you tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
there are a couple of things that were evident early in this game. They were trying to run laterally to start that last game. That was
Or
foolhardy.
too
That
fast.
was number one. Oregon was too fast for that. Number two, all those first down passes. I mean, all those first down runs.
Predictable.
Absolutely. Putting them in a hole. That was bad for the run game. It was bad for your quarterback. Putting him in those obvious passing situations.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, the pass game was in a box. Everything, not only were you in obvious pass situations, but you were passing in a 10-yard radius.
Right.
All right. Everything was short. So the field was compressed for your passing game. So it made life super hazardous for your quarterback who's already uncomfortable. It was a recipe for disaster. As they got deeper into the game, i.e. the second half, a couple of things happened. They got more downhill with the rushing game, more consistently. I mean, they did it a little in the first half. I think you had Donovan. He had hit a power on that first touchdown drive. That was real good. They got more downhill, more consistently with the rush game. They got more consistent with first down pass plays that were down the field. I'm sure they would say, well, we caught some first down pass plays, but I'm talking about down the field pass plays on first down. And the combination of those things helped get your quarterback more comfortable. And that was important for a guy who could get a little antsy. And by antsy, I mean whether that's him running out of the pocket, it can manifest that way, or locking into a target, it can manifest that way, or feeling the pressure and rushing. You know, there was one time where he locked into it was a third down play, and it was like he had locked in the Colston, and he tried to drill it in the Colston when he had Tyler Morris running across the middle.
Yeah.
He just rushed it a little bit. Or there was in the fourth quarter where, listen, that drive in the fourth quarter where they ran the reverse pass that didn't work on fourth down, which don't even get me started on the play. But earlier in the drive, Daniel, if you watch our film study, you'll see this play. Earlier in the drive, there was a wide delay with Marlon Klein. Marlon Klein comes off for a beat, and then he pauses, and then as he runs out, and he's wide open for the pass, right?
Yeah.
And the defense divides. But you got an edge guy that comes as a free hitter, and he immediately gets rid of the football like it's hot. He gets rid of the football, but the defender blocks the ball. He tries to throw it to the back to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But if he stands in there and either takes the hit and throws it over him, or buys himself some time and throws it over him,
He's wide open.
Man, Daniel, it's a touchdown.
Would you call it contact courage? I heard y'all say that a couple episodes ago, right?
Man, hey, it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
Marlon Klein is going to run for a touchdown. He's gonna run for a touchdown. So it's these lessons to me, if they can put these things together, because to me it starts with the play caller first, building some comfort for the quarterback. Building some comfort for the quarterback by,
give him something comfortable with.
Give him something, yeah, right. A run plan that allows for some comfort. So you're gonna have to pass to set up the run now. This is not an offense that can run to set up the pass. Can't do it. They can't.
Let me ask you a question. To that point, has it seemed the last few games, has it seemed tougher sledding for Khalil Mullins?
Yes.
It seems like his production, like you said, the running on first down has become predictable to where he's the first down back. We know they go stick it in his belly the first play.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really worked.
Well, because they can't do what they used to do. I mean, the belligerent running is not going to work with Davis Warren as the quarterback. With
Mhm.
Davis Warren as the quarterback, you're gonna have to throw more to set up the run.
Okay.
That's just if he's your quarterback, you're gonna have to operate different. If you're gonna go with Alex as your quarterback, okay, running on first down makes more sense. But if Davis is your quarterback, running on every first down doesn't make sense.
Right.
It just doesn't. You have to throw on more first down. You gotta adjust to who your quarterback is.
Yeah.
So you gotta apply that. To me, you gotta take what happened in the second half of this game and apply that to Indiana, and hopefully they can cut. You should get Jair Hill. You'll get Jair Hill back for this game.
Yeah.
You'll get him back for this game. His injury wasn't an injury that's gonna keep him out of this game, so he'll be back.
Yeah.
That should help. And if they can cut out some mistakes, get this offensive plan. I mean, Indiana's going to score some points. They're going to score a lot, but they're going to score in the 30s, I think. Can you finally score in the 30s? Can you finally score in the 30s as an offense?
I think for me, Sam, what I see with the offense, like you said, building a game plan, it doesn't seem like they build off what they did the previous week, right?
Yeah.
Like that's one thing, like even the way we talk about it, right? We have to do this. We have to run the ball, run these type of plays. But the guys that they're playing against, the coaches that they're playing, they've watched plenty film and they've seen this stuff work as well, right? So when you come into the next game and you show these things, I'm pretty sure they've developed triggers, right? If they line up this way, this is what we're doing. If they run, this is what we're doing. So don't you kind of have to build a game plan that counters those things or builds upon those. Whatever we did well I know in basketball, whatever we did well previously, the last game, we're going to try to incorporate some of that. But we know the team that we're playing has watched that film. So we can't come out and expect to do that exact same thing. We might have to counter it or tweak it a little bit and still get us in them same positions. So it's like, as a coach, I would assume it works the same way in football, right?
Yeah, I mean, it should. It should. You gotta keep them in the low 30s. Keep them in the goal to me. Keep them in the low upper 20s to low 30s, and then can Michigan finally get into the 30s offensively? I mean, it's a tall order. There's nothing.
Very tall.
There's nothing that would make you think that Michigan's offense can get there. But if they can take what we saw from them in the second half of that game and build on it,
yeah,
they should be, because Davis showed you some things throwing the football that can get there.
Yes.
If they put it together, if they put a plan together based on what we saw him do and them do with him in the second half of that game. Now, I'm not telling you that they will, but I'm saying we saw him do some things that can get you there.
Yes.
We saw him do some things that can get you there. It's not outlandish to think that based on what we saw him do, all right, because
he made some big time throws the second half.
Right. And it's like, man, and with the things that they, as a play caller, there were some things left on the field. And as a player, there were some things left on the field.
Yes, sir.
So between the things that were left on the field as a play caller, that, okay, you can see that, and the things that he left on the field as a player that aren't outlandish to say you can actually do that. Like, you can actually, it's not outlandish to say, okay, you can hit that throw. He stared down Davis. I mean, stared down Colston before the ball was snapped.
Yeah.
Looking at Colston, then threw it to him. And Tyler's running wide open across the middle. Like, if people say receivers aren't getting open, Tyler is like, I am wide open.
Wide open, yeah.
I'm wide open.
Yeah.
Like, this is a first down, man. I mean, if you just look at me. And then that wide delay was worse because it's a touchdown. It's like a 60-yard touchdown because the defense, there's no one in the middle. Like, if you take the steal, and it's not even an all 22. Like if you go and you watch the game and you just pause it on the replay with when the pressure is coming and you pause your TV and you pause it when the pressure is there and you see the shot with Marlon Klein, you'll see there's no one on the screen in front of Marlon Klein.
Wow.
Marlon Klein's a 4 or 5 guy. And you'll see, and no one's going to catch him.
Yeah.
No one's gonna, if he throws the ball over the defender, he might get hit. He probably does get hit if he stands there, but if he retreats the way that JJ retreated on that pass, remember when JJ was in the Ohio State game? It was retreat. He threw it over the defender, hit Cornelius Johnson.
Yep. He broke away for the touchdown.
Yep. If he does that on this play and hits Marlon Klein,
same thing.
It's a touchdown. It is a touchdown.
But Sam, do you think we play fast enough to score 30 points? Like with our margin for error being so small, right? It seems like yesterday last week between Oregon controlling the clock when they had the ball on offense, and then us playing a slow style of play, we're huddling and snapping the ball under 6 or 7 seconds every play. It seemed like we only had 3 or 4 possessions the first half. If you get stopped 2 of those, how can you expect to score 30 points against good teams? Now, I saw we tried to incorporate a little bit more tempo. They didn't huddle in a couple of situations against Oregon last week. But if a team that has a very small margin for error is trying to shorten the game, right? Because you feel like you're not. I don't know why we did it last year with a more talent with the most talented team in the country. Probably they played a style of play where they wanted to shorten the game and limit the amount of possessions and don't turn the ball over. It seems like that doesn't lend itself to you scoring very many points, with the team not being as good.
Yeah, but see, as I'm talking about, they gotta adjust.
Yeah.
I think there's a realization that you can't play that way. Like you can't play running the ball on 8 of your first 9 first downs. You can't play that way. You don't have the personnel to play that way.
Yeah.
You can't play that way with Davis Warren as your quarterback. You can't play that way with this offensive line. You got to throw.
It's almost like we play in a way that we have to score damn near every possession to win.
I wouldn't say that.
Like, if we gave up, how many points did we give up this past weekend? 31, 38. In order for us to win that game, we would.
You got to score against these teams. Yeah. Against these teams that can light it up. Yeah, you got to score 30. You got to score 30. I mean,
for sure.
Teams that can put points on the board. Yeah, man.
I just think our philosophy, like I keep relating it back to basketball, right? Like Dusty wants to get up and down. He wants to score a lot of points. So what do? They play a faster pace. They create more possessions. They create more explosive situations. Now in football, it's a little different, right? But I think we're talented enough against most of these teams, right? Not against Texas, not against certain teams, but against most of these teams where we have equal or more talent. You can kind of impose your will in other ways other than just, we're going to control the clock, play smash mouth football, and get out of here.
I think there's a happy medium.
Yeah,
I think you needed to play a game where you were limiting possessions. You didn't want a high possession game against Oregon.
No,
but you needed to make them respect you down the field to open up the box. The box was so compressed that you couldn't do anything. You couldn't operate. You couldn't run the football, right? I mean, the pressure was unrelenting on that. But he couldn't do it. You couldn't operate. They didn't respect you down the field. So safeties your linebackers are running through with reckless abandon. Safeties were collapsing indiscriminately. It's like you can't play offense.
But does more downfield shots lead to a faster paced game, Sam?
Do they naturally lead to some extra possessions? Sure. You're going to have extra possessions. Yes. You're going to have more possessions as a result. But what I'm saying is you're not going into the game with a strategy of, hey, we're going to have a high possession game. I'm saying
I got you.
We're going to try to be more deliberate. We're going to try to have a lower possession game, but within the framework of, hey, we're going to stretch this field.
Shots. Yeah.
We're going to take some shots because we know we got to take shots in order to decompress this box. We can't operate otherwise. We can't just bully these guys.
Right.
We should have known already at this point in the season. We should already do that. For some reason, we did.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a strange place to be in, to be 8-9 games into the season and not really know what you do, what your strengths, what you do well as an offense, right? What your quarterback is comfortable with. What plays can you run that you know we can take a shot on? Like it's kind of weird to be 8-9 games of the season, not have an idea of what you want to do in those situations. So,
all right, we got one more thing to get into, and that's talking about my Lions at the trade deadline. Your Saints kind of played into it as well. Before we get into that, want to tell you folks, listen, you got transportation needs, our friends over at Golden Limo, they have you covered. Whatever your destination, transportation needs are, whether they're airport transport, game day transport, executive transport, large party transport, team transport, Golden Limo has you covered. All right. So for me, when I came to my game day needs for the USC game, one of their SUVs came to get me at home, got me to the game on time. They even picked me up after the game, navigated that traffic before the game. Oh man, had me going through all kind of back spots, get me weaving through, navigating through all the different back roads, back channels. I skipped all of the traffic jams, missed all of them. Getting to the pregame tailgate, no problem. And then after the game, picked me up at the stadium. I walked out of the tunnel. My ride was right there, waiting for me. That's the Golden Limo difference. Same thing when you got to get to the airport. But what if you have a larger party that needs to get around? I see whether it's, you go over to the medical school and they have like a team of doctors or nurses that needs to get around in one of those sprinters, one of those larger parties. They got you covered there. Maybe you're a bachelor party or something like that. Party bus. They got you covered there as well. Droppin Dimes crew got on the party bus, right?
Party bus. Yes, sir.
Around like that. Maybe something as large as a team needs to move around. The Michigan football team rides on Golden. Michigan basketball team rides on Golden. Michigan women's basketball team rides on Golden. When I say all of your ground transportation needs can be met, Golden Limo has you covered anywhere in Southeast Michigan. They get you there on time, every time. And the great thing about it, when you book your ground transportation through Golden Limo and you do so using the Golden Ticket, a portion of your ground transportation fee goes to support Michigan NIL. They have one of their brand ambassadors is Zeke Berry. They're going to have a postseason party with the Droppin Dimes crew. We're going to be there. Alan Vance will be there. Zeke will be there. I think Samaj Morgan will be there. There will be some other special guests. You might be there. If you book using the Golden Ticket, they're going to select some members who use the Golden Ticket to book their ground transportation services. They're also going to donate a portion of their ground transportation fee to a great veterans charity called Freedom River. That is the Golden Limo promise. So they contribute to the community. They contribute to Michigan NIL. They support Michigan. They support our veterans, and they support Droppin Dimes. That is the Golden Limo difference. So ground transportation needs, go to Golden. Ben, drop that track.
If you have ground transportation needs, get to your destination on time, every time with Golden Limo. Ride like the Wolverines. Feel like a Wolverine when you ride with Golden Limo, the proud transportation partner for many of Michigan's sports teams and the primary transportation provider for Michigan Wolverines football. All you have to do to book your Golden Ticket reservation is go to goldenlimo.com/Golden Ticket or call their team at 734-668-8282 and mention Golden Ticket to book your transportation reservations today.
Yeah, we'll be giving you the details of that postseason party coming up, and make sure you mention Golden Ticket because they'll be selecting people who book their ground transportation using the Golden Ticket coming up. So that party will be in January, and you don't have to be in Southeastern Michigan to do so because they have partner services throughout the United States. So, for instance, when we were over in Rome, when we were over in Paris, we used Golden Limo to pick us up, right? So
That's
they
pretty
have
cool.
services throughout the United States. So you can book your ground transportation through Golden anywhere in the country. That's how Golden Limo works, folks. So use Golden Limo. All right. Daniel, listen, I told you about my Lions. Didn't I tell you we were going to get down? Did you see how my Leos went into Lambeau Field and got it done? They said it was outside. They said it was too cold. It was too windy. It was too wet. They didn't have Jameson Williams. Oh, they're having problems protecting Jared Goff. You know, Taylor Decker, he's been giving up too many pressures. And Rashawn Gary, he was getting after him last year. He's going to get him again this year. And then I think his second series of the game, Brian Branch got ejected. He should have got the penalty. He shouldn't have got ejected. They're really about to lose now, man. They went in there and dominated. Went in there and dominated them. What you got for us now?
Nothing. It's an impressive win. Yeah, having an impressive season. I am a diehard Saints fan, but from my perspective, what the Lions have done to this point has been impressive.
They are the best team in the NFC without question. They are when it comes to Super Bowl odds, they are the number 2 team in the NFL behind the Chiefs, as far as Super Bowl odds are concerned, which led me to a point that I've been making for about a month now. I said, if you're Brad Holmes, your charge is, your thought process is, what do I got to do to beat Pat Mahomes? It's no longer what do I have to do to get to the Super Bowl. You're the best. You can beat Minnesota. You can beat Green Bay as is. So even once they lost 8, and I said, you know what? They could probably get there as in their current composition after they beat Minnesota. I said they could probably get there like this. No, I said after they beat Dallas. I said they could probably get there as is. They don't have to do anything else. But can you beat the Chiefs? Can you beat Baltimore? I know Lamar hadn't gotten to the Super Bowl, but it just feels like, man, if you get to the final stage and you're facing one of those guys, one of those ultimate playmakers, it feels like you gotta have a guy that can, when that ultimate playmaker is in playmaker mode, you gotta have a guy in the box that can affect him. If you don't have a guy in the box that can affect him, that gives you a chance to affect him, that you just aren't gonna beat him. You aren't gonna beat him.
Right.
So your charge is to go get a dude. You gotta go get a guy that gives you a chance to affect him. Gotta make a move. Even if you can't make the move, you gotta make a move. You're doing yourself, this team, a disservice if you don't. Brad Holmes went and made a move, Daniel. He went and made a move.
Yes, he did.
He made a move, man. He couldn't get Max Crosby. He couldn't get Myles Garrett. He went and did the next best thing, and he did it for a 5th and 6th round pick. That's big time, man. Brad Holmes, right now, I'm going to say it. I think he's the best general manager in the National Football League. Best general manager in the National Football League.
But that's normally what happens, right? When you have years like this, or you have runs like this is not the first year the Lions have been an elite team in the NFC, right? The people in the front office are doing their job well, and the guys on the field, the coaches are coaching well, making the right decisions, doing well, right? And I think even though it wasn't a spectacular performance, Goff going 18 for 22 with 1 touchdown and no picks, that's kind of like still in line with what Devin has been saying all year about how highly he thinks of Jared Goff. And I mean, he keeps playing this way. He has to be I don't know where he is in the MVP conversation right now, but if he keeps leading the Lions the way he's leading them, four incompletions 1 week, 3 incompletions, and 4 touchdowns 1 week, like he has to be, in that conversation of once again, Devin is being proven right by the play on the field. So it's
the dude started the game 11 for 11 in the rain without his deep threat.
Right.
11 for 11 in the rain without his deep threat.
Yeah.
Like,
and then you add the pass rusher on top of it of what y'all doing on offense already, man. It's hard not to pick y'all.
Come on, he doesn't get the love because he's not running around the yard like Pat Mahomes, certainly not like Lamar or even Josh Allen. He doesn't make the flash improv plays. So he's a traditional pocket passer.
Steady Eddie.
He is cutting them up. He is the best play action passer in the National Football League. I stand on that. There's not a better play action passer in the National Football League.
Yeah.
He is an assassin in that respect. And so you wonder if, maybe by virtue of his unbelievable accuracy, how many times does he have to do, double digit accuracy, right? Where it's like 11 for 11, 12 for 12, 15 for 15. How many weeks in a row does he have to do that before somebody pays attention? It's like, hey, man, this dude is like deadly accurate. Tom Brady's like, this is unbelievable. Like, I'm Tom Brady, and even I'm impressed.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm 7-time Super Bowl champ. I didn't do this. He's like, it's in the rain. He's like, this.
No, it's impressive. It's extremely impressive. Like I said, 18 for 22 in the rain. Like a lot of guys struggle to go 18 for 22 in perfect conditions. And he's out there only 4 incompletions in the game. Like you said, it's cold, it's raining. Late November in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Only incomplete 4 passes, man. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, David Bresson said Adam Peters might give Brad Holmes a run for his money. Commander's turnaround is pretty crazy, too. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. He's doing what Brad Holmes did a couple years ago, right? But I mean, let's just look at what they did at the deadline. Yeah, he went and got Lattimore, but he gave up a 3rd round pick to do it. I mean, Brad Holmes just got he just got Za'Darius Smith for a 5th and 6th round pick.
Right.
And let's think about this for a second.
No, let me add to that real quick before you go. The Saints didn't get the better of the 3rd round pick. So in typical Saints fashion, we got a 3rd round pick, but instead of getting the 71st pick, we got the 93rd pick. So we traded our best DB and didn't even get the better of the 3rd round picks. So I wouldn't even compare those 2 deals. So go ahead. Brad Holmes is winning.
Yeah, Za'Darius Smith. You're getting him, and most of his deal is already paid, right? If you keep him next year, it only costs you $5.5 million. So you still have $27 million left under the cap to re-sign your guys, because that's the model for the Lions is re-sign your own guys. So Kirby Joseph, Aiden Hutchinson, the main guys that you're thinking about. That's number 2. If you decide you don't want them, there's no dead cap money. It costs you nothing to cut them. I mean, you're winning all the way around. And you only gave up a 5th and 6th round pick. Come on, man. It's like this dude is winning on every level.
Can he and Hutch play on opposite sides of each other?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm about to say you gotta keep him, man.
Yeah.
You gotta keep him.
And he's an unbelievable locker room guy.
Yeah. The Lions just got a lot better.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Killing the game.
Yeah, the Lions just got a lot better. That's a big time pickup, big time move. Like I said, I watched a lot of the moves at the deadline. I was hoping my Saints made a couple more moves to free up some money for going into next year and get some draft picks in the fold. And then you look around, you see teams like the Lions, like the Commanders, their GMs making competent moves for their team needs and their team situations in the moment. And it's refreshing to see. You know what I mean? Y'all know the Lions haven't always been in that position. So to see, I know how I felt when Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton came around and we started our run to a Super Bowl and all that. So I can empathize and I can see where you Lions fans are right now. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And built to last too. Built to last, not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't agree with this talk about Aiden coming back this year. I wouldn't risk it. I know they're talking about him being around for the Super Bowl. I just would not.
Hey, Seb, you're not gonna like to hear this, and I know y'all Lions fans in the chat might not like to hear this, but you said built to last. This might be y'all losing somebody after this year.
Who?
One of y'all coaches will be the Saints' next head coach next year.
Oh, Aaron Glenn.
Whether it be Aaron Glenn, Brad, the OC, or it might even be Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell ain't going nowhere.
It might even be Dan Campbell. You know he was on our Super Bowl team back in 2009. So
Dan Campbell ain't going nowhere. You can have
it.
I respect what Aaron Glenn has done this year. I've been hard on Aaron Glenn. I'm impressed with how solid he's made this defense.
Yeah.
But you can have Aaron Glenn.
Hey, it might be Dan Campbell. You know he won the Super Bowl in New Orleans.
Yeah, what do I think about Tim Patrick? Hey, man, Tim Patrick is the $6 million man. He's got a bionic knee and a bionic Achilles and a bionic ACL, and he's been reconstructed. It's unbelievable what he's done. But I credit Jared Goff, man. Jared Goff think about this. Every receiver on this team, other than Jamison Williams, what did they say about him? Amara St. Brown was a 4th-round pick. Sam Laporta was a 2nd-round pick. Tim Patrick was off the scrap heap. Like, none of these guys were dudes. Jamison Williams, obviously, was a recovering from ACL. None of these guys were frontline guys. And he has elevated every single guy. And I said, before the Lions were this, I was talking about Jared Goff and the difference with him and Matthew Stafford and why he was better, why he's what Matthew Stafford never was here. He elevates the guys around him. Or as good at Matthew Stafford, terrific talent, good guy. I'm not saying he was never good. I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback. But for all of the talent that he has, he never elevated the guys around him to be better than they were. This dude, Jared Goff, elevates all the guys around him. Think about it. Every dude around him is better than they were. Every single guy. Tim Patrick, off the scrap heap. Come on, man.
Is that Goff or is it the OC?
Man,
I feel like the OC is propping up all of them, including Goff.
To say it's both. It's both. Yeah. It's both. But, man, it's Jared Goff dropping them dimes.
For sure.
Man, it's super accurate. Pinpoint accuracy. Man, he's throwing dudes open. Throwing dudes open. Come on. All right. We got to get out of here. Before we do, you know the charge. Hey, Ben, can you put the call to action from the Hellgate Tailgate? The Hellgate Tailgate wants you to know the Keep Bryce Home campaign is alive. See, the Michigan NIL, that effort, they've done their job. They have made it clear that LSU cannot and will not beat Michigan for Bryce on the basis of NIL. Let me repeat. They have made it clear that LSU cannot and will not beat Michigan for Bryce Underwood on the basis of NIL. Will not happen. Will not happen. No matter what they say to him, no matter what they offer him, no matter what they promise him, it won't be enough. It won't be enough.
I like it.
It will not be enough. You can't offer him enough. That's like you don't have enough.
Hey, it makes you speechless because we haven't operated this way before, right?
Right.
So now we're in this position and we're operating this way as a Michigan fan and the Michigan former athlete and supporter. I'm looking like, oh, we cooking with gas now, Sam.
Yeah. So I mean, now they could keep him for some other reason. I mean, maybe he stays because he just loves Joe Sloan that much. He loves Joe Sloan's development that much, and he just loves the offense that much. But you know, if Sharon Moore can convince him that we had a national championship offense here, and I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to have a national championship offense again. If he can convince him of that,
yeah.
On top of the NIL, LSU is in trouble. LSU is in trouble. See, I think that's what I don't think it's about the money.
Yeah.
Because LSU can't beat Michigan on the money. Let me repeat. LSU cannot beat Michigan on the money. You want to take that over to their message boards and their sites and their coaches and their NIL people? LSU can't beat Michigan on the money. Daniel laughing because he know. I'm not saying nothing that's not true. Like Michigan's laying it down.
Yes.
They're like, you ain't beating us on that. Not on no NIL. So
that's what we talked about, right? I think with Michigan, when you're willing to play ball when it comes to the money and that aspect, now it brings your other qualities that really do separate you from other universities, other programs. Right now, the beauty of the campus, the academics, the brotherhood within the lock, all the ancillary things come into a play more when the money is right, when the financials are right? So now we can highlight these other things that draw athletes to Michigan, that make people and athletes love the University of Michigan. You can highlight those things now. When the money ain't right, I'm not trying to hear all that. I don't want to hear how beautiful the campus is. I don't care about all of the other stuff. But now that the money's right now, I'm more receptive to, okay, what else does the university have to offer? And Michigan can clearly separate itself from schools like LSU and other schools because of the things we offer as outside of money. So, but the money has to be right, though.
Right. So now it's the other things. So
yes.
Now it's LSU. They got Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels in the NFL. Joe Sloan coached Jayden Daniels. They lit it up offensively. They still putting up numbers offensively, right? They legit have that. So what do you have, Michigan? What do you have, Sharon? What can you say in that regard? And so
somebody asked the kid how many games did LSU win with him? How many championships did they win? How many games did they lose with them putting up all them yards and numbers and winning Heismans?
That's true. And so then brass tacks of it, and we got to get out of here because the show is running long. We'll pick this up. We'll pick this up on a Recruiting Insider. We might do a live Recruiting Insider tonight. So if you see a notification, I'm not sure that we'll do one, but be on the lookout for a notification. We might do a live recruiting insider tonight, and I'll pick this discussion up if we do. But then the charge becomes, okay, if you're Sharon, it's like, hey, all right, I hear all of that. And we are struggling offensively this year. We did have a national championship offense last year. I wasn't the head coach at the time. All right. Things are different. We don't have the same pieces. And I have some things to address. I got some things to fix. But know this. I'm going to fix them.
Yep.
And I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get back to a championship level. Whatever I got to do. You're a piece of that. But just a piece. Whatever I got to do.
Hey, they need to get Sam on the phone with it.
Oh,
I got to get Sam on. Can they hire Sam as the director of recruiting too? Hey, everything you said makes complete sense. Everything you saying is on point. Everything you saying, like, hey man, it's a perfect opportunity here for him, especially for him because he's an in-state kid. Like it's an opportunity here for you to become a legend, for you to make history, for you to do if you do what you think you can do at LSU, if you do what Jaden Daniels did last year at Michigan, you probably win a national championship to go along with the Heisman Trophy, and you never pay for a meal ever again in your home state. Like that's just one of the ancillary benefits of like becoming who we think he can become, or who he thinks he can become. You do that at the University of Michigan, say, man, you write your ticket in life.
Right. So, but then there's the fan part. So then there's the fan part. So what do the fans do? The fans are coming together, and this is how we're closing. So there's an ongoing campaign the fans have to keep Bryce home. Every Belleville game for the rest of Belleville season is the Keep Bryce Home campaign according to the Hellgate Tailgate. Put it up on the screen for me, Ben. They sent this to me and said, can you please put this on your shows? The Hellgate Tailgate. This is where you can find all the information about it. All right? And give me the box too, please. They are going to be getting together before the game. They're going to be having a tailgate, and they're going to be going to the games that they play. Belleville plays Saline. Wear your maize or your blue, because they want you representing Michigan at these games. They want it clear that you're a Michigan fan at these games. If you can't go, then let a Michigan fan know. If you can't go, you can at least spread the word. You can at least tell somebody on the phone. You can text somebody. You can put it on your social media. You can put it on your Facebook page. You can tweet it. You can put it on a message board. You can spread the word. You can keep Bryce home. You can say keep Bryce home. You can put keep Bryce home in the chat. If you want to keep Bryce home, let me hear you say it. Let me see you post it. We'll put it on the screen. Keep Bryce home. Let me say keep Bryce home. Put it in the chat so we can put it on the screen. Keep Bryce home. And then show up at the game. Its kickoff is at 7 o'clock. It's this Friday. You show up at the game. You wear your maize. You wear your blue. You cheer them on. You let Bryce know. They say you let Bryce know you want him to stay home. That you want to keep Bryce home. That you want to keep Bryce home. And that's the part that you can play. To keep Bryce home. And that's going to be at every game. That's going to be at every Belleville home game for the rest of the season. And you'll be able to find information on the Hellgate website. Like I said, spread the word. Do your part. All right? All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed this edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. It was a fun one. We gave you portal quarterbacks. We gave you some Bryce. We gave you some Indiana preview. Man, this was a long episode. This was a marathon episode. But we had a lot to try to squeeze in.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
And we still didn't even get to the basketball preseason, the first game opening night of the basketball season.
Yeah, we sure did not. We'll make sure we squeeze it in next week. We'll make sure we squeeze it in next week for sure. All right, folks. We appreciate you all. We'll see you next week on the next edition of Steady Droppin Dimes.
Yes, sir.